few crazy things, enough crazy things to make anyone nervous, including me, my family, a Christian, a Muslim. Anyone would be worried. Putting things in perspective, these people don't represent a lot in numbers, in proportion, in ability to cause harm. So what I would say, I understand where they're coming from, but this is really going to be the work of the Syrian people. They have to work on reconciliation. They have to rebuild trust, to counter the propaganda of the regime. They have to go, Muslims and Christians, and meet together and say, what would we like to see in Syria or for Syria? What would it mean to have freedom in Syria? Would it mean that any group would be excluded, or would it mean that all of us would be equal citizens? And that discussion needs to be happening, because I can tell you for 50 years, no one dared to have that conversation because you're not allowed. In Syria, you could not have that conversation. Now we see more and more, and as I said, the fact that many of the revolution leaders are Christian themselves, that is helping ease some of the fear that exists. That is not enough. Syrians who are activists here need to talk to the people who own that liquor store and sit down and say, listen, we're not your enemy. We will never be your enemy. Because what we're looking for is a Syria that respects every human being, including you, your family, your town, my family, my town. The enemy is the one who's killing you and me at the same time. But it's an easier thing said than done. It's going to take longer term to process for people to realize. And you might not win the heart of some people. Some people, it will take them until after the revolution to be able to see that. I think we're out of time. I'm going to leave it to Bill to decide whether we can take one more question or let's see one hand. So,
if it's a fast question.
Sure. I promise to have a fast answer.
The party that rose to power out of the Arab Spring in Egypt was the Muslim Brotherhood. As Morsi's plan to implement the Constitution and his vision of where Egypt should go seemed to take a more strident form. Then there was pushback in Egypt against his party because what began to emerge, I guess, I'm paraphrasing, the people of Egypt felt that they were trading one tyrant for possibly another and implementing a stringent form of political Islam, Sharia law, that sort of thing. Out of what's happening in Syria, what is the potential for the Muslim Brotherhood to rise to power in Syria? Would that be a good thing for Syria? What are the chances of it happening, and would that be a beneficial thing for Syria?
I'm going to try to be very brief because we promised, but I can sit, and whoever else is interested in a longer discussion, I can sit after the program and talk more in detail. I would say Egypt is a little bit different than Syria. Egypt is one group. It's Egyptian, they're all Arabs, 90% Muslim Sunni, 10% Christian. So it was much easier for a monolithic group like the Brotherhood to take over in elections. By the way, they won democratically. This was not a takeover. They had elections, they got the majority that they needed in the parliament, and then the presidential election, and they won. Syria is a little bit different because it's much more diverse, ethnically, religiously, even politically. So no one group can ever take over on their own. They're going to have to collaborate with other groups in Syria. And as I said, Syria is just a little bit unique in terms of the way it is ethnically and historically. However, that could be. I mean, I don't think they will win a majority, but they might win the largest number of votes. Because in general, Muslims in general, and in the Arab world specifically, are more organized than the leftists, for example, or Islam, political Islamic groups are more organized than the leftists might be, or the secularists might be. And mainly because they were seen as the ones who were most vocal to the dictators. So they had some popularity on the ground. But that could also change as there is a stable democracy. Because once you have a democracy, even the Islamists themselves are not monolithic. You have the Brotherhood type, then you have the more moderate ones, you have the ones who are Islamists but nationalists, and then you have the ones who are called the Salafists, for example. And they vote against each other and they run against each other. So what will happen once there is a more stable democracy, we're going to move away from having one group that's more popular than everybody else. There are going to be enough groups like, hopefully, nothing like the two-party system here. We'll have something a little bit more representative of the diversity of the people, as we've seen in Lebanon and other places. So what I'm hoping is, important for us is not who will win. What's more important is to set up a process that respects, like a constitution that will respect everyone's right, religious rights, freedom of press, freedom to organize politically, freedom to protest and dissent, be protected from abuse, and then allow for that democratic process to happen, not just through a vote, but through a culture, where, unlike what happened in Egypt, where you can't have a minority that doesn't like the majority and say, well, we're going to bring the army and take over. That has to end. There must be a process where whoever wins by majority vote, we're going to have to respect it. I wasn't happy when Bush won, but you didn't hear us organizing in Riverside, we're going to bring the army and take over DC. We accept that, you know, we're going to have to live with it for 4 years. Turn out to be 8 years, but you know, we can deal with the process, because what's more important is the country and the process to be preserved, not who is in power at that time. And to his credit, I mean, Morsi had 1 year to correct 40 plus years of corruption and even more. You don't want to just include Mubarak. From the time of Nasser, it would have taken whoever it is, if a prophet himself, or Jesus, or Muhammad was there, it's going to take him more than a year to fix things. But the Egyptian people were impatient. As I said, there were external forces and internal forces that really wanted to undermine the process. It wasn't about who Morsi is or the brother. It could have been anybody else. They really didn't want to see democracy prosper in Egypt, because Egypt is the largest Arab country, and if it prospers there, then it's easily going to be contagious to the other countries around. So, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Hassan, for a thought-provoking presentation. You've given us many things to think about. I would like to, again, thank the Universalist Unitarian Church for their hospitality. Bob Melch, the chair of the Social Justice Committee. Reverend Henderson, thank you so much for opening the doors of the church to us again. I'd like to also acknowledge the co-chairs of the Progressive PAC, Jared McCreary, as well as Daniel Soto, and the committee members of the Progressive PAC who have worked so hard to bring this program to you. And so with that said, I hope that you have enjoyed the presentation. I hope you found it informative. It is so good to see many old friends here this evening, and we look forward to bringing you further presentations that highlight issues that will be thought-provoking in the future. So we have cookies in the foyer, and again, thank you all for coming this evening.
I videotaped. I videotaped the whole thing.
Yeah, that was good. Wish I would have had a camera at the time. It's interesting. Agree, disagree is just fun.
Well, you know, he's a public figure. Whatever he says should be on the record.
Sure, sure.
And, you know, they allowed me to do it, so no problem.
Yeah, brother. Down there. Yeah, you know, I didn't quite get. I didn't quite get the sound system. Very hard to hear.
Did you enjoy the program?
I did very much. Thank you.